1400 WJZM Radio. 45 degrees at 7 o'clock. We'll have an extended look at our weather forecast after this update in national news.
WJZM, Clarksville, Fort Campbell, Hopkinsville.
This news flash brought to you by Heritage Bank. We are open for business. Your business. Bankwithheritage.com.
With SRN News, I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. From diversity to adversity for the victims of a Halloween terrorist attack in New York. Officials say the attacker, who killed 8 people yesterday, came into the country on a diversity visa. It is a congressionally mandated program meant to increase the diversity of the immigrant population, and it grants that status to some 50,000 people every year to that end. Officials say the suspect, 29-year-old Sayfullo Saipov, came to the U.S. legally from Uzbekistan in 2010 and has been living in Tampa, Florida. Governor Andrew Cuomo says this appears to have been a so-called lone wolf attack.
This is all very preliminary. It's only been a couple of hours, but at this point, there's no evidence to suggest a wider plot or a wider scheme, but the actions of one individual who meant to cause pain and harm and probably death.
The suspect was shot and wounded by police and remains hospitalized. A fatal carjacking attempt left a driver dead yesterday at the University of Utah.
The victim appears to have been in a car up Red Butte Canyon. Wrong place, wrong time, very random. No relationship to the suspect whatsoever.
University of Utah Police Chief Dale Brophy, a 24-year-old suspect, is in custody. Disasters of the natural variety have affected millions of Americans in recent weeks. Correspondent Linda Kenyon says it's been costing them a lot of money as well.
To those affected by the recent spate of natural disasters, including wildfires and 3 major hurricanes, FEMA's administrator has this message.
We can't make you whole, but we can actually serve as a catalyst to help you recover.
Brock Long tells senators a number of steps should be taken to prepare for future disasters, including simplifying and streamlining disaster recovery programs.
That report from correspondent Linda Kenyon on Capitol Hill. On Wall Street, it looks like it's going to be a booming start to today's trading. Dow futures right now up by 120 points. NASDAQ futures up 27. This is SRN News. A Kentucky judge is still under pressure. Michael Harrington has a report.
The state's Judicial Conduct Commission says ethics charges will proceed against Judge William Mitchell Nance, who declared his conscientious objection to handling adoption cases involving homosexual couples. This despite his resignation last week. The hearing is scheduled for December 15th, a day before the judge's resignation actually takes effect.
That's correspondent Michael Harrington. Open Doors USA wants 3 guarantees for persecuted Christians in Iraq and Syria.
The right to equal citizenship for Christians in Iraq and Syria and throughout the Middle East, dignified living conditions, and the third action item is involvement in reconciling and rebuilding their society.
The spokesman Kristen Wright with Open Doors USA.
These aren't action items that Open Doors came up with. These are action items that we heard directly from persecuted Christians on the ground.
Open Doors is gathering names on a petition on its website. This is SRN News. The government reports that worker pay is on the rise. Here's correspondent Warren Levinson.
The Labor Department says wages grew 0.7% in the last quarter after adding 0.5% the quarter before. Benefits and health insurance gained 0.8%. The numbers are a sign that worker pay is finally rising as unemployment has shrunk to near 20-year lows. Salaries had lagged behind economic growth. The results are somewhat skewed by the hurricanes that hit in late summer. Harvey and Irma idled so many low-wage workers in Texas and Florida. The higher paid made up a disproportionate share of the labor pool. I'm Warren Levinson.
The head of the EPA says he will replace the panels that advise him on science and public health issues with new members holding more diverse opinions. EPA Administrator Scott Pruitt said many previously appointed to the boards were potentially biased because they had received federal grants. More details at srnnews.com. From Washington, I'm Bob Agnew.
Commercial loans, Heritage Bank. Those are the only 4 words you need to know to make your commercial project a reality. Whether it's a new building for your business or a new business altogether, the commercial lenders at Heritage Bank can make things happen so you can make your business a success. Call or stop by your local Heritage Bank office today. At Heritage Bank, we're open for business. Your business.
NMLS number 431499. Subject to credit approval. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. Bankwithheritage.com.
WJZM.com.
The Big 1400, WJZM Radio, Clarksville area weather, considerable cloudiness, showers on and off throughout the day. Mid-60s for a high today. Tonight, mostly cloudy, maybe a passing shower as the rain decreases. Overnight low of 60. Tomorrow, cloudy and warmer, maybe a brief shower, 73 for a high. Currently, we're at 45 degrees in downtown Clarksville. With a look at Clarksville area traffic, here's John Michaels.
Good morning. Traffic around the city and the county is moving along rather smoothly at the moment. There are a couple of slow areas. Looks like Trenton Road, Tiny Town Road, and out by Tyler Town Road, all very slow at the moment. Looks like Rossview Road headed out to the interstate, very busy. The MLK 76 connector is busy as well. And also 41A out in Sango has a couple of spots, slow spots, but 41A out at Fort Campbell and 79 out in Woodlawn look good at the moment. And 48 and 13, it is busy out by Montgomery Central, but other than that, everything looks good this morning here in the Clarksville, Fort Campbell area. Now, if you're headed to Nashville this morning, 24 looks fair all the way into the Music City. Let's check in with Commander Chuck and see what's going on with the Nashville area traffic.
Well, good morning. No shortage of accidents out here, that's for sure. It's been a busy one out here as they finish that Rec 65 south there, south of Vietnam Vets. 40 westbound near Spence Lane. That's one of the latest wrecks out here. That's already heavy and slow as you come past the airport there and through Donaldson on 40 West. Now 40 West on that ramp at Stewart's Ferry Pike. Apparently a crash there. Dr. Elizabeth Baker at Maryland Farms Chiropractic specializes in headaches and migraines. Call her today, 309-8279. I'm Commander Chuck. You're on time traffic.
It's been a look at your traffic and weather together and the latest national news, all brought to you this morning by Heritage Bank. It is 7:07. It is Wednesday, and that means it's time for the Wednesday morning edition of Good Morning Clarksville. Good morning, Chuck Edwards.
Good morning, John Michaels. Thank you for all the Halloween candy that you brought in on this post-Halloween day. It happens to be the first day of November. Yes, sir. To get started, did you have many trick-or-treaters last night?
No.
You didn't?
No.
Oh, that's right. You kept your light off. That's right.
I kept going to the door and going,
He's a Scrooge. He's a Scrooge.
Trick-or-treat.
He did. But anyway, we're getting started. It is 1 November, a Wednesday, Governor Wednesday on the Big 1400. 1400 WJZM Radio, 45 degrees, expecting a high of 65 on this first day of November. A little later on.
Can you pass me another Snickers?
Wait a minute. We're all out of Snickers.
Well, just give me a Reese. Reese's.
No, the Reese's, I have to send these Reese's through quality control because I think, something they might be defective. And
you're sampling it now.
No, I'm taking one for the team, John.
Well,
now, here.
Okay, it's a team sport.
Take a Twix.
Okay.
Take a Twix, take Twix. I'm still working.
I like Twix as well.
And when I get the approval for the Reese's Cup, I'll give you one.
Okay.
If we don't run out.
You'll probably run out.
Well, I don't know how much of a sampling they're going to need in quality control before they, give the okay on the Reese's Cups.
All these Milky Ways, I have to try them. I have to taste them. I have to test them before you have one. So two can play that game.
Yeah, well, I've got the, we're working on the Snickers and we're working on the Reese's Cups. So you just have a good time with your Milky Ways.
I will. And I'll keep my Twix over here, too. I'll keep my Twix to myself.
I'm going to give you some double bubble, too, okay?
Oh, double bubble gum.
You can blow bubbles.
Say that fast.
You can blow bubbles on the air. Coming up, Sports Now Update with Justin Swallows at 7:20, brought to you by Coffee Break and Cheesecake. Musically this hour, some Sister Sledge, New Colony 6, and some Phil Collins. But first, birthdays are in order. First day of November, Natalia Tina. She's one of the stars of Jeremy Piven's new show, Wisdom of the Crowd. Have you seen that?
No, and the critics have panned it.
Oh, they have?
Yeah. They gave it the...
Jenny McCarthy is 45. She is now married to Donnie Wahlberg, but back in the day, Jim Carrey and Brian Urlacher of the Chicago Bears, she used to date them. Toni Collette is 45. She's star of the United States of Tara.
One of my favorites.
That? No. I haven't seen that either. Sophie B. Hawkins is 53. Big Kenny Alpin is 54. He is a country music superstar from Big and Rich. Fernando Valenzuela, speaking baseball, and we should be. The World Series tied up going into Game 7 tonight. How do you think Fernando is?
60.
57.
No.
And one of my favorite entertainers, Lyle Lovett. Country singer.
There's the real rooster head, man.
Yeah, he is. I like Lyle Lovett, because he didn't change. He married Julia Roberts. They stayed married a while, and, he never changed.
Wonder if she needed glasses in that period.
Well, John,
you
there's
think
somebody...
love transcends all. Is that right? There's somebody for everybody.
That's right. Exactly right.
Someone for everyone.
Larry Flint is 75. And Whispering Bill Anderson is 80 years old. Yeah, 80 years old. 4 days until daylight savings time ends. 10 days until Veterans Day. 15 days until America quits smoking. 2 days till Thor Ragnarok, the movie, comes out this Friday. And 44 days till Star Wars, The Last Jedi, hits the big screen.
It's coming.
Yeah, so... I know those people who are still standing in line.
Yeah, I hope Jimmy has his umbrella today.
Yeah, because it is raining. And we need to go. We lost Keith Wilder Sunday at the age of 65. You say, well, who's Keith Wilder? He was the lead singer for the group Heatwave, the band that always did Always and Forever and Boogie Nights.
Yeah, we probably should dig some up for later.
Yeah, we probably should. He had been dealing with some health issues, but he died Sunday at the age of 65.
That's
the big 1400.
Young.
It is the Wednesday edition, a Governor Wednesday. That means that Bill Persinger will be here in the studios.
This
The Big 1400, WJZM Radio. Rain and 45 degrees. Expect a high of 65. The rain will probably be with us all day today. Tonight, 60 with a passing shower. And tomorrow, maybe a brief shower. But for the next 4 or 5 days, we're going to warm up into the mid-70s, believe it or not, in November. High on Thursday of 73 degrees. Right now, right now we're at 45 degrees in downtown Clarksville. Back in the day, 505 years ago, 1512, Michelangelo's masterpiece on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel was finally revealed after more than 4 years. He worked on his back, painting that for 4 years. Do you believe that?
No.
Amazing.
Yes, I guess I will. It's hard to believe.
Yeah, well, it's hard to believe, and I would like to see it in person.
Wonder if he stood standing up.
Like a horse.
Yeah. Well, I lay down all day for 12 hours a day. I'm going to stand up and sleep.
1604, 413 years ago, Shakespeare's Othello was first presented at the Whitehall Palace in London. 123 years ago in 1894 now, Billboard Advertising Magazine was first published. It only cost 10 cents. Now, the weekly magazine now is simply known as Billboard. I don't know. Perhaps you've heard of it? Yes? Maybe?
Yes, I have.
Maybe.
But it's very expensive now, so
yes,
I don't
a
get
little more than 10 cents.
Yeah, I don't.
122 years ago, 1895, the first car magazine was published. It was titled The Horseless Age.
Oh.
Now, here's something that's interesting.
Okay.
103 years ago, in 1914,
yes,
New York debutante Mary Jacob decided that she did not want to put on her corset, so she had her maid attach 2 silk handkerchiefs with some ribbon, and she wore that instead. Other women caught on to the new style of underwear, and Mary was able to sell her lightweight bra patent for $15,000. 103 years ago, 1914, magnificent Mary Jacob invented the brassiere.
Oh.
Yep. Cool.
15,000.
Yep. 67 years ago.
She should have kept it a while longer.
Yeah, well, she did okay.
Yeah.
I think. 67 years ago in 1950, Charles Cooper of the Boston Celtics became the first African-American to play in the NBA. Too bad that fad never caught on. 38 years ago, 1979, Bob Dylan publicly revealed that he had converted to Christianity. 35 years ago, in 1982, the Playboy Channel debuted on cable. Is that still on? I don't know.
I'm not sure if it's a thing or not.
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't have it.
And 5 years ago, in 2012, Google's Gmail became the world's most popular email service.
See? You still got what? AOL.
So?
You got mail.
So?
Does it still do that when you go to check it?
I'm not telling you.
Does it go, you got mail?
I'm not telling you. Give me another Twix. I'm not telling you. Give me another Twix.
I'm not sharing. No Milky Ways either, since you won't give me a Snickers.
See, that's the way he's going to be. That's the way he's going to be all day today. He's going to hog the leftover Halloween candy.
That's right.
That's right.
Well, you got your Snickers and your Reese's cut.
And look at these Baby Ruths, baby.
Oh, no, yo.
Baby Ruths, yeah.
No.
The Big 1400 WJZM Radio. We're going to have a sugar fix. You know, our diabetes is going to be all out of whack this morning. We roll along with Kathy Dennis on the Big 1400. 1400 WJZM Radio, 45 degrees, going up to 65 for a high today. Chuck and John, it is Governor Wednesday.
Hello, Governor.
Bill Persinger from Austin Peay State University to join us here in the studio during the 8 o'clock hour. In 2001, a space oddity, what was the computer's name, John?
HAL.
HAL. Did you know all three of those letters are just one letter away from IBM?
Are you trying to tie those two together?
No, it's just a coincidence.
Uh-huh.
It's just a coincidence. Don't you think?
I think Hal had a virus.
I think it's just a coincidence. So that's one story for you this morning. I've got a couple of stories.
Oh.
Number two for John Michaels.
IBM.
So, John.
Yeah.
I know after the Halloween, you're kind of bummed out because your costume didn't go over too well. I understand you're trying to dress up as Wonder Woman. But the thing is...
the beard gave it away?
Yeah, the whiskers.
Oh.
You know, the whiskers, John.
Well...
but anyway...
I should have shaved, I guess.
I've got something to cheer you up, okay?
But I thought about Wonder Woman with a mask, you know.
Well, next year you can try that.
Just see her.
Yeah, next year.
His eyes.
Yeah,
her eyes.
You can cover up the whiskers.
Yeah.
But I've got a story that I want to share with you that I think will make your day and give you some hope.
All right.
You know, if you like Daddy Suds, Daddy Soda. Beer, brewski, that's absurdly expensive and illegal in most of the South, then today is John Michaels Day.
In the South?
That's right.
You mean it's illegal here? Are we that far enough down that it's...
yes,
or do we need to go to L.A., Lower Alabama?
Well, you don't have to. It's right here. They will cuff you. You know the position. They'll put you in the position.
Hey, I know it's prone with your hands behind your back. I've experienced that.
Samuel Adams has just announced that they're making a special craft beer called Utopias. It's 56 proof. Woo! No.
Woo! Got candy in my mouth. I can't do it.
It's 56 proof, which makes it just as potent as a lot of hard alcohol. A bottle of it will cost you $199.
For a 12-ounce bottle?
I guess it's a 12-ounce bottle.
Shoot, it better be a pint.
But the best part, because of the high alcohol content, it's illegal in 12 states. Alabama, Arkansas, Georgia, Idaho, Mississippi, Montana, New Hampshire, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee.
Can't they sell it at the liquor store?
And Washington.
Can't they sell it at the liquor store?
I don't know if they can sell it. It should go on sale in the other 38 states next month, but it's going to be pretty tough to find. They're only making 13,000 total bottles, so you may have to call around to find places that are carrying it. But
Kentucky wasn't off limits, so was it?
Yes.
Oh, it was?
No, it was not.
Wasn't. Okay, I'd run over the border.
Yeah.
I'd take a run for the border.
Well, you're right. They might be selling it in the liquor stores. Yeah. Go out and see Billy Brown.
Okay.
Go out and see downtown Billy Brown.
I will.
Tell him to hold you back a bottle of Utopias. You're going to pay on it. You're going to pay $3 a week till you get up to $199.
Let me get out my disaster card.
Yeah, that's right. Time now for a Sports Now update with Justin Swallows on the Big 1400. Brought to you by Coffee Break and Cheesecake on the Big 1400.
This Sports Now update is presented by Coffee Break and Cheesecake at 1191 Fort Campbell Boulevard, Suite F, where they serve homemade cheesecakes made with only the finest ingredients.
Coming off of their bye week and into a Sunday afternoon showdown against the Baltimore Ravens, the Tennessee Titans are focused largely on finding a way to score touchdowns in the red zone. Statistically, despite their 4-3 overall record, the Titans have been awful from within 20 yards of the goal line, providing too many opportunities for their star place kicker, Ryan Suckup. Suckup attempted only 22 field goals throughout all of last season. Through only 7 games in 2017, he has already made 22 field goals on a total of 24 attempts. Next, we take you over to Austin Peay State University, where they are celebrating today on the heels of their first team win in women's golf since 2015. The Austin Peay ladies golf squad scored a new program low yesterday to win Nashville's Town and Country Invitational by 22 shots with a collective 36-hole team score of 583. It was the senior Anna Michelle Moore leading the way in the triumph. She was the only golfer to finish the tournament under par with a 36-hole score of 140. Lastly, today we take you to Knoxville for a disturbing report concerning the University of Tennessee football program. The ReadOptional.com is claiming this morning that Tennessee's coaching staff knowingly played right tackle Brett Kendrick for at least 2 quarters of last weekend's loss at Kentucky with a concussion. A look back at the film reveals that Kendrick was visibly wobbling throughout the second and third quarters, missing assignments and at times seemingly unaware of when the ball was snapped. The senior offensive lineman was not available to the media Saturday night in Lexington, and he hasn't made a public appearance yet this week. From the WJZM Sports Desk, this is Sports Now, and I'm Justin Swallows.
Cheesecake. It's one of those all-time favorite desserts, and the best you've ever had is waiting in the case at Coffee Break and Cheesecake. They make everything from scratch, right down to whipping their own butter. And they're creating delicious flavors like white chocolate with cookie crust, Reese's Pieces, Oreo mint, and s'mores. Come hungry because they sell not slivers or bites, but huge chunks of deliciousness. Coffee Break and Cheesecake at 1191 Fort Campbell Boulevard, Suite F, just past Dover Crossing.
The Big 1400, WJZM Radio, where we've got another Sports Now update next hour, 8:20 on the Big 1400, brought to you by Mr. Appliance with Justin Swallows, right here on the Big 1400.
Wrong.
1400 WJZM Radio, 46 degrees at 7:36, expecting a high of 65. The Vol Network Notebook comes your way at 7:50 this morning with Bob Kessling. Brought to you by Copies in a Flash right here on the Big 1400. So we had all this Halloween candy. Look, I will trade you one of my Baby Ruths, okay, for one of the Kit Kats.
Negative.
I will trade you 2 Baby Ruths for a Milky Way.
2 Baby Ruths and a Reese's cup.
I'm not giving... John, I have to check out these Reese's.
Give you a Kit Kat.
Okay, I'll tell you what. I'll give you 2 of these Tootsie Roll Pops for a Milky Way.
No.
You know, I know that a lot of people are having withdrawal symptoms this morning after Halloween. You know, after the candy, all the candy that the people, that their kids brought in from trick-or-treating, a lot of people are having withdrawal systems, and they're thinking about, I need to do something. I ate too much candy. I'm eating too much candy. I'm munching on too much candy. I think I'll become vegan.
Huh? Just because of candy?
Yes. So, I mean, you know, believe it. I mean, today is World Vegan Day.
It is?
Yes, it is. So.
I will eat tofu for lunch.
Good for you, John. You go. Anyway.
You want to come with me?
No. The top questions, I'm going to Chi-Town.
Oh.
I'm going to get me a Chi-Town.
I told her you.
Tell Donna I'm coming.
I told her,
yes.
I said he's been saying for 3 months
going
now
to
he was coming to Chi-Town. Hadn't seen him
So
yet.
here's some questions you need to ask yourself before you become vegan.
Okay.
First of all, is my life really worth extending?
Well.
Am I significant enough? Will my Facebook friends enjoy my constant posts about what I'm substituting for bread, milk, cheese, and ground beef? Top questions you need to ask yourself before becoming vegan. Can I stick to it even when the McRib comes back?
The McRib is coming back.
Yes, it will. Do I really want to do this right after the kids have hauled in 2 big bags of Halloween candy?
I'll trade you.
Is this the best way to lose friends and alienate family members?
It is.
John might be able to help you with this. Can I really trick my taste buds into thinking that tofu is like meat?
It is. And you get those big mushrooms. Make a burger out of one of those.
Top questions to ask yourself before becoming vegan. Today is World Vegan Day. Meals are way more enjoyable when everything tastes bland and flavorless, right? Yeah.
You'd be surprised. You might not know the difference.
The top questions to ask yourself before you become vegan. Okay. Can I give it up for Lent? I mean, Grandma's ham is the bomb.
Yeah, I miss that ham.
Will becoming vegan help me to get the number of that chick that I saw at the grocery store the other day?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Why do I hate myself enough to give up bacon? Amen! Amen!
You're not giving up bacon,
are you? No. Oh, no. That's sacrilege.
Well, they got some bacon that's not real. Tastes like bacon.
We're not going to go there, John. It doesn't.
I'll make you a
no,
bacon
don't turkey nothing.
Sandwich.
No turkey nothing. No. Turkey and dressing. It's not turkey and eggs. Turkey, bacon, and eggs. No. And the top questions to ask yourself before becoming vegan, if someone hugs me, am I ready to snap in half? So there you go. You need to ask yourself those questions before you give it up, before you want to give up bacon.
You know why you're going crazy? Because you're giving up bacon.
Negative, Ghost Rider. No, I'm not giving up bacon. I'm not giving up bacon. We need to take a break. We'll be back right after this.
Give me that twist.
Cooking for large groups is exhausting, and it saps the fun out of hosting parties and events. Let your friends at the Lunchbox do the cooking next time with carry-out catering for small family gatherings up to large company outings. Whether you want barbecue and sides, hot dogs and chips, or homemade chili, the Lunchbox has the food for your next party covered. Call them today at 931-802-8227. Or better yet, go sample their extensive menu at 2124 Woodlawn Road. Fresh ingredients become delicious homemade meals at the Lunchbox, Clarksville's new favorite eatery.
For real estate services, Byers & Harvey can do it all. Real estate sales, rentals, property management, commercial and residential development. Byers & Harvey is Clarksville's oldest independent real estate company and has given continuous service since 1878. Byers & Harvey have 3 locations to serve you in North Clarksville, in the heart of downtown, and at Sango. For more information and listings, visit them online at buyersandharvey.com. buyersandharvey.com. Byers & Harvey, Clarksville's real estate company.
Jackson's Body Shop, downtown. Jackson's Body Shop, downtown. It's your car, it's your voice. Jackson's Body Shop, the best choice. Dents, dings, major body repair. A pre-loaner car, 'cause we really care. Jackson's Body Shop, downtown. Jackson's Body Shop, downtown. Call 647-6989 or Jackson's.
In your time of loss, you need to know someone cares. Since 1916, Neil Tarpley Parchman Funeral Home has been serving the Clarksville area with the kindness and respect you deserve. It's their goal to provide quality, compassionate services to you and your family during this very difficult time. Mike Parchman and his staff genuinely care and provide prearranged plans that accept insurance to help ease your pain in your time of grief. Neil Tarpley Parchman Funeral Home. People who care. A name you can trust. Neil Tarpley Parchman Funeral Home. Madison Street in Clarksville.
The Big 1400 is WJZM, Clarksville, Fort Campbell, Hopkinsville.
Looking for a new golf experience? Tired of playing the same old courses? Try Clarksville's newest golf course, the River Club Golf and Learning Center, located along the Red River. The picturesque River Club offers some of the area's best golf, putting greens, and driving ranges. And while you're there, stop by and have lunch in the clubhouse or enjoy some live music in the evenings. It's open to the public and waiting for you. The River Club Golf and Learning Center, Clarksville's premier golf experience. Call the River Club of Clarksville today for more information. 931-919-3200. The River Club of Clarksville.
Why settle for less when you can get more at Wyatt Johnson in Clarksville, your winning team in Kentucky and Tennessee? Score and win with Wyatt Johnson GMC Buick, Toyota, Hyundai, Mazda, and Subaru, as well as 3 pre-owned superstores for more selection in minutes versus days, shopping place to place. We are the region's largest GMC Buick dealer, the area's newest Toyota dealer, and home of the Hyundai, Mazda, and Subaru giant. You always get more at your winning team in Kentucky and Tennessee. The Wyatt Johnson Automotive Family in Clarksville.
Moore's Office Supply is Clarksville's office supply and furniture experts. For office equipment, desks, chairs, and more, depend on Moore's Office Supply. Located on Franklin Street across from the Catholic Church, Moore's has been your business partner for office supplies in the Clarksville, Fort Campbell area for years. Call Moore's at 645-7200. That's 645-7200. And we'll deliver it for free. Moore's Office Supplies, Clarksville's office supply headquarters.
The Clarksville Academy Cougars are bound for the TSSAA football playoffs for the first time since 2014, and you can follow them live right here on the Big 1400. The Cougars will open up postseason play on the road Friday night at the Kings Academy, and we will have the call starting with pregame coverage at 5:45. WJZM is proud to be the exclusive home of Clarksville Academy football, and we wholeheartedly congratulate the Cougars on their return to the playoffs.
The Big 1400, WJZM Radio, Chuck and John on this Wednesday. It happens to be a Governor Wednesday. Next hour, Bill Persinger from Austin Peay State University will join us here on the Big 1400. 1400 WJZM Radio. Clarksville area weather. Rain on and off throughout the day. We expect a high of 65 today, 60 for an overnight low with passing shower. For Thursday, mainly cloudy, warmer though. Brief shower, maybe 73 for an expected high. Friday, a high of 73 with clouds and maybe a spotty shower. Saturday, cloudy, maybe a pop-up shower, 75 for an expected high. And we're expected to get up to 77 on Sunday. So for the next 5 days, we've got temperatures in the mid-70s for highs. That chance of rain on and off throughout the day on all 5 days, though. Right now, we're at 46 degrees at 7:48 on the Big 1400. WJZM Radio, Chuck and John. It is a Governor Wednesday.
Hello,
Austin
Governors.
P. Wednesday.
I will always think about you, even if I live without you. Please don't let that ever happen. I have too much love within me for you. Baby, it's true. Baby, I can't find the words to tell you just how much I really love you. If you feel the same way I do, you will know the love I have here for you. Baby, it's true. Baby, the days we spent together were fine. The nights, the lights were yours and mine. It's true. I'll always love you. Always love you. So let us plan our futures together. Love is here, it's getting stronger. Even if I live without you, I will always think about you. It's true. Baby, it's you. Baby, it's true. Baby, for you.
The Big 1400 WJZM Radio, Chuck and John. 46 degrees, expecting a high of 65. I was reading about Adele. Are you familiar with Adele? Do you have any of her albums? No. Okay. Adele
yeah.
is a very popular singer.
Yes,
I'm
she
sure a
is. I
lot
know
of
the
you
song.
have heard of her. She recently was offered $1.3 million to sing to some Arab billionaires in the Middle East.
Oh.
But as exciting as that opportunity sounds, she wasn't interested. And she had an awesome excuse. A source says, quote, her agent said, nah, she's not doing it. She's busy gardening this week. Adele is often weeding these days. Now, you think about it, a lot of people would have trouble turning down that kind of coin, but Adele has made $69 million over the past year from her touring and sales, and she has about $175 million fortune, which makes her the richest celebrity under 30 in the United Kingdom.
She's got a little money.
She got a little coin. She got a little, yeah, she got a little. So she can afford to say no to that, you know.
Yeah.
I mean,
I didn't know what you were going to tell me that somebody was trying to pay her to do.
well, I
so.
mean, you know, but $1.3 million to do a concert,
Just one.
just one.
Would you?
Of course. For a few more pieces of silver, yes, I would have. I would have been there. Because, you know, there would have been some stipulations. I mean, if they wanted to pay her that much money, then they definitely would have said, okay, yeah, we'll send our private, you know, Gulfstream jet to pick you up, and we'll put you up in Dubai.
Band members and your equipment.
Hey, I promise you,
I
promise you, there were some perks involved.
I bet there was.
But Adele's not doing it. So you stay home and weed, okay? And maybe they'll get Flavor Flav to go and do the concert instead of you. Time now for the Ball Network.
Jazzy Jeff.
Yeah, Jazzy Jeff. Time now for the Ball Network Notebook with Bob Kessling, brought to you by Copies in a Flash on the Big 1400.
Ty Chandler wants to build off the Kentucky performance. This is the Ball Network Notebook, brought to you by your local Farmers Co-op. Co-op, proudly farming Big Orange Country. Ty Chandler recorded his first 100-yard rushing performance Saturday at Kentucky. He rushed for a career-high 22 times for 120 yards. He also had an 80-yard touchdown rush called back due to penalty. Chandler was the featured back on Saturday night, filling in for the suspended John Kelly. The freshman from Nashville said he was ready for the opportunity.
You just got to step up in certain situations, and that's what I feel like I was able to do, step up and just let the game come to me and play.
Is there a different mentality knowing that you're going to get the ball 20, 25 times rather than just maybe 3 or 4 times?
I feel like it's the same mentality that we come with every day in practice, just running hard and just being physical and able to finish runs.
This week, Tennessee has its homecoming game against Southern Miss, looking to snap a 4-game losing streak. Chandler said the team is determined to stay together and turn things around.
Mentally, we all hate losing, and we're just preparing for the next game and preparing to keep moving forward to Southern Miss. A lot of players came in, we talked. We just talked about, man, how we got to move forward.
John Kelly's expected to return this week to rejoin Ty Chandler, giving Tennessee its 1-2 punch in the backfield this week against Southern Miss. On football Saturdays at Neyland Stadium, there are long-standing traditions that make for an unforgettable experience. There's the Vol Walk, the Power Tee, and singing along with over 100,000 diehard fans as the band plays Rocky Top after a Tennessee touchdown. At your local farmer-owned co-op, they understand the importance and impact of these traditions because for over 70 years, they've had a few of their own, like friendly service, top-notch products, and trusted advice. Co-op, proudly farming Big Orange Country. Homecoming on the Hill Saturday night as Tennessee takes on the Southern Miss Golden Eagles. Kickoff time is 7:30 at Neyland Stadium. Reporting for the Ball Network, I'm Bob Kessler.
Copies in a Flash is your one-stop copy design and print supercenter. Are you looking for wedding invitations, anniversary, or graduation announcements? You can find any kind of announcements you need. Copies in a Flash can provide it in a flash. At Copies in a Flash, business cards are their specialty. Your local Copies in a Flash can handle it all in a flash. Anything to do with printing? See Copies in a Flash at 1841 Business Park Drive in Clarksville. Copies in a Flash offers free delivery. Visit Copies in a Flash and see all their offerings at copiesinaflash.com. Copies in a Flash is proud to support our community and say go Big Orange.
The Big 1400 WJZM Radio, where we've got UT men's basketball this Thursday. Volunteers take on Carson Newman. Airtime 6 o'clock, tip-off 6:05 right here on the Big 1400. UT men's basketball.
Looks like we're running out of time. Can hide away in nights no longer yours or mine.
The big 1400 WJZM radio, we're still holding at 46 degrees, expecting a high of 65. The rain in the forecast on and off throughout the day. The show, just, this world that we live in, how it's changed.
Yeah.
In Salzburg, Austria, they have put airbags on lampposts.
Huh?
Yeah, they put airbags on lampposts to protect people who bump into them because they're looking at their phones. Go figure.
I'm not doing it. Why?
Airbags on lampposts.
Bring my candy bar back, would ya? The big 1400 WJZM radio. It is 8:01, 46 degrees, expecting a high of 65. We'll take an extended look at our weather forecast after this update in national news.
The big 1400 is WJZM, Clarksville, Fort Campbell, Hopkinsville.
With SRN News, I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. President Trump is sending thoughts to the New York victims while condemning Islamic State militants after yesterday's attack in New York. Here's correspondent Sagar Magadi.
The president's initial reaction was the attack was carried out by a very sick and deranged person, ending his tweet with all caps, "Not in the USA." He later suggested the Islamic State group was involved, again ending in all caps, "Enough." From there, the president tweeted, "The nation's thoughts and prayers are with the victims of a cowardly attack," and thanked first responders. In a written statement, he then pledged his administration's full support to the NYPD.
That is Sagar Magadi reporting. Officials believe the suspect used to live in Ohio. In fact, Steve Newman of Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio, says that the suspect was friendly when he used to live nearby him.
I walk my dog. I've been here for 4 years, and I just would say hi, and he said hi a couple times.
That is Steve Newman, who spoke to WEWS TV. The Argentine Foreign Ministry says 5 of its citizens were among the victims. House Republicans have delayed the long-awaited release of their tax plan until tomorrow.
GOP leaders decided to postpone the release for a day after hours of backroom discussions failed to produce agreements on a number of hot-button issues, including how to handle retirement plans and whether to retain the federal deduction for state and local income taxes. Ways and Means Chairman Kevin Brady favors a plan to keep the deduction for property taxes instead. President Trump turned up the heat on lawmakers to move quickly this week, saying he wanted a final agreement by Christmas.
As Capitol Hill correspondent Wally Hines reporting. Looking to Wall Street, should be a strong start right now. Dow futures are up by 118 points. NASDAQ futures up by 25. S&P 500 futures are up by 9. This is SRN News. One evangelical pastor and author says he was removed from Liberty University after a concert and threatened with arrest if he returned to campus.
President Jerry Falwell Jr. says Jonathan Martin was removed from campus Monday night because of security concerns. Martin posted on social media that he was visiting band members backstage when he was removed by Liberty University police. Falwell said in a phone interview that police became aware of future protest plans from Martin's social media posts, and a security official issued the request for removal. Martin recently spoke against Falwell's support for President Trump's administration. Patrick Voss reporting.
German leaders marked the 500th anniversary of the Protestant Reformation yesterday. German Chancellor Angela Merkel and President Frank-Walter Steinmeier took part in a service in the famous Castle Church in Wittenberg. That's where Martin Luther first posted his 95 Theses on October 31st of 1517. This is SRN News. A tech expert has just given the facial recognition system on Apple's expensive new iPhone 10 a tryout, as Warren Levinson reports.
Apple's iPhone 10 costs $1,000, $300 more than the 8. The biggest difference being it recognizes your face. Does it work?
The Face ID system works pretty well.
AP tech writer Nick Jesdanen says it won't recognize you if, say, you shave your beard.
But for gradual changes and putting on a hat, putting on glasses, things like that, it still recognizes as you, which is better than some of the other attempts at facial recognition with Android and other systems.
It will recognize you in the dark, but if you're in a boring meeting, don't count on being able to slip it under the table to turn it on. Warren Levinson, New York.
Investors will soon have another way to make or lose money on the digital currency Bitcoin. CMA Group plans to open a futures market for Bitcoin before the end of the year if the Chicago-based exchange can get approval from U.S. financial regulators. More details at srnnews.com.
The Clarksville Academy Cougars are bound for the TSSAA football playoffs for the first time since 2014, and you can follow them live right here on the Big 1400. The Cougars will open up postseason play on the road Friday night at the Kings Academy, and we will have the call starting with pregame coverage at 5:45. WJZM is proud to be the exclusive home of Clarksville Academy football, and we wholeheartedly congratulate the Cougars on their return to the playoffs.
The Big 1400, WJZM Radio, Clarksville area weather. Clouds and a chance of showers on and off throughout the day. Expect a high in the mid-60s tonight, 60 for an overnight low. As that rain continues, it'll taper off a little bit tomorrow, but we could have a brief pop-up shower. Mid-70s for an expected high on Thursday. The 73 for a high on Friday. Saturday, a high of 75 and 77 for an expected high on Sunday. So temperatures rebounding very nicely after that little cold front that we had. Currently, we're at 46 degrees in downtown Clarksville. We'll look at traffic. Here's John Michaels.
Good morning. Traffic around the city and the county, not bad at the moment. It is slow in a couple of spots, though. Looks like Tiny Town Road, very busy, especially out by Peachers Mill Road and the Needmore Road intersections. Looks like 41A Sango is slow in a couple of spots. 48 and 13, if you're coming into the city from the county, still slow out by Montgomery Central. And it looks like Riverside Drive, New Providence, and College Street are all a little busy at the moment. Now, if you're headed to Nashville this morning, 24 looks good all the way into the Music City. Let's check in with Commander Chuck and see what's going on with the Nashville area traffic.
Good morning. Our latest wreck's going to be in West Nashville. It's going to be the 500 block of Old Hickory Boulevard. Checking a wreck, 65 northbound before you get to Armory. Coming up from Brentwood, that's already busy. Antioch Pike there at Space Park South. That's an accident. They're trying to move that into a parking lot. Speaking of parking lots, 24 westbound's really heavy now up by Harding Place. Prince's Hot Chicken is the best and original hot chicken in Middle Tennessee. They've got 2 area locations. Go by one of them today. I'm Commander Chuck. You're on time traffic.
That's been a look at your traffic and weather together and the latest national news this morning on the Big 1400 WJZM. It is 8:09. It is Wednesday, and that means it's Governor Wednesday, and this is the second hour of Good Morning Clarksville. Good morning, Chuck Edwards.
I'm not speaking to you because you don't want to share any of your Halloween candy.
Well, you won't trade me.
I told you I'd trade you 2 Tootsie Roll Pops for a Snickers.
No.
Why not?
You give me the Tootsie Roll Pops nobody else wants. You won't trade me the Snickers and
okay, I'll tell you
the
what.
Reese's cup.
I'll give you 2 Tootsie Roll Pops and 3 Milk Duds for a Snickers.
No. Well, we'll have to talk about this after the show.
Okay, we'll talk about it.
I'm just not going to go for that.
The Big 1400, WJZM Radio. We roll along.
Candy
10, 46 degrees. Steve, you're vegan anyway, so you should be looking forward to trade some of that candy
bar.
Yes, yes. big 1400 WJZM radio. We're at 46 degrees. Expect a high of 65 on this Governor Wednesday here on the big 1400. We're joined by Bill Persinger from Austin Peay State University. He is the director of marketing. And in tow with him, he's brought Christine Nakutis, Dr. Christine Nakutis, who is the executive director of Austin Peay State University Center at Fort Campbell. Good morning.
Good morning. Glad to be here.
Welcome. Thank you for coming. So Bill, tell me, what have you been doing? You're getting Austin Peay's on the road this week, right?
They're on the road.
Tech?
I believe they play in Tech this weekend.
Okay.
And so I think that's going to be a good game.
Are you going?
No, I'm not planning on going.
Yeah.
A little too far for me this weekend because I've got other commitments. But
the weather's supposed to be good. I think on the plateau it's supposed to be good too.
Yeah.
I think mid 70s for a high.
That'd be perfect football weather.
Yeah. So did you talk to anybody after their trip to Florida? I heard they were wined and dined, and well, not wined, but they were done. It done good.
I think they had a great time. Even though they lost the game, I was pretty impressed. And one of the things I heard was that they scored more on that team than anybody else had offensively.
Yes.
And I think that's pretty impressive.
Of course, the other UCF, they did their due diligence
That's
too.
Right. That's right.
But they were supposed. I mean, they're the what? Are they still
17th? I think.
Are they? Yeah, they were 17th in the nation. So,
yeah.
But anyway, so I'm glad the gentleman, the coach, the team got to experience that.
Yep.
Flying down and being feted, treated like royalty.
Absolutely. I saw Ryan Ivey yesterday briefly in a meeting, and I just asked him how he's doing, and he said they had a great time. He looked a little tired because that's a pretty good run there to go all the way down there, play and do all the things they did. But I think they had a great time. And
I was trying to think. Okay, because I'm brain dead. University of Central Florida, UCF, is located where? In Central Florida. What city is synonymous with Central Florida? Do you know?
It's in the Orlando area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they landed in Orlando.
Yeah.
It's
Epcot.
Yeah, they went to Disney.
Oh, they did?
Yep. The team went to Disney, and so that was part of the experience.
Yeah, but they didn't do Disney because it takes a month now to go through Disney. I mean, years ago when we went, the last time we went, it was like a 3-day thing, and we still didn't get a chance to see it all. But anyway, I'm glad that they got a chance to go and glad they had a good time. So, Dr. Christine Nakutis, Executive Director of Austin Peay State University Center at Fort Campbell, tell us about yourself.
I have been with Austin Peay since mid-May. I'm a retired lieutenant colonel. I did 20.
Yes, sir.
That's yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Excuse me.
I told you to be on your best behavior.
Yes, be on our best behavior.
I did 20 years active duty in the Army. I was a logistics officer focusing on ordnance. So if you needed bombs or bullets, I can get them to you where you needed, when you needed, and how many you needed.
On time.
On time supply.
That's right.
I did a 3-year tour at the United States Military Academy where I was assistant professor of philosophy, which kind of led me to my secondary career now in the education field. I served as a Veterans Affairs counselor and coordinator at Jackson State Community College in Jackson, Tennessee for 2.5 years, and saw this opening here at Austin Peay and said, this is what I want to do. I want to make a bigger impact on more soldiers and more students. And luckily, Austin Peay selected me for this position. And so I'm responsible for the Austin Peay Center on Fort Campbell and making sure those students get the education that they need to further their careers.
Well, good. So, we're glad you decided to come to Clarksville and Fort Campbell. And, Dr. Nakutis, you were saying that when you were in the military and then you went to Jackson State. Is that right?
Jackson State Community College.
Mm-hmm. They did not have as many non-traditional students as Austin Peay at Jackson State, right? Even though they're in West Tennessee, and I don't know, I was trying to think, what is Millington? What's near it?
Millington is out toward Memphis.
Okay.
And that's the Navy base out there. Jackson State Community College in Jackson, this is the local community college. They're celebrating their 50th anniversary like most of the community colleges in Tennessee that were built as a result of the Vietnam War. With the GI Bill, students needed a place to go closer to home. And so Tennessee built the community colleges, the 13 that we have today. So typically every semester I had about 110, 115 students who were VA recipients. They were dependents, spouses, children, or National Guard, Reserve. There's not too many active duty folks down in Jackson, Tennessee like there are here in Clarksville, just because of the proximity of Fort Campbell.
So you went from 115 to 2,000.
Just about. And I'm, not just focusing on supporting the Fort Campbell Center. I also want to make sure that veterans, military across the entire institution are taken care of. So I do a lot of work with the Military Student Center on the on the Clarksville campus itself. I'm working doing some grant writing with some of the faculty to help support programs for all veterans and military, both within the school and within the community. So my job is not just focus on that small population, but really branching out and reaching out to veteran students and looking at my student body at the center on Fort Campbell. I have almost 400 students who are civilians. So I have non-military affiliated students as well that I'm focused on taking care of, making sure they have the programs they need. They can have access. We give them access passes for the semester that they're enrolled. So even if you don't have a military ID card, you're not military affiliated, you can still take classes at Fort Campbell Center, especially if it's closer. We have a lot of students that cross the state line from Kentucky coming in because it's closer for them to take classes at that center at Fort Campbell than drive the extra 10 miles or so down to main campus.
Do you still have some students that take classes at both locations?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Based upon the needs, we have a lot of non-traditional students, the adults who have full-time jobs during the day. They have children. So the center at Fort Campbell offers a lot more night classes that give students a little bit more flexibility. Yeah. We do have some hybrids that are one night a week versus 2 nights a week. We run 8-week semesters. So it's a little bit faster pace in our courses, but sometimes that's easier for active duty military who might only have 2 months worth of time to take classes because they know they have a field training exercise or they're deploying or they have something coming up, so that they can fit a course within 8 weeks, which is easier sometimes than doing a 6-week schedule.
Dr. Christine Nakuda, she's the executive director of Austin Peace Center on post at Fort Campbell. Dr. Nakuda, it would seem as though your experience gives you an advantage in being able to relate to those things. Like if they've got the students on post at Fort Campbell who are in the military, they've got, exercise that, they're going to be gone for 6 weeks. So, being able to be flexible enough to make their schedules around that. You understand that. You can relate to that. Been there, done that.
More than once.
Yeah. Whereas a lot of people can't relate to that. So you're being the director. I guess you telling your staff and working with those students is a plus, right?
My experience, I've done active duty military. I did academics within that time frame as full-time instructor at West Point. I did adjunct work at night for a lot of colleges around New York while I was teaching at West Point. I've deployed a couple times. I've had to leave my family behind. I know what it's like standing at the airport saying goodbye. I know the stresses that brings for the soldier as well as the family. I had my husband became a single dad pretty much during deployment with two kids, and the stresses that brings to the family members. And sometimes that's the harder position because the family is still in their same day-to-day activities, but someone is missing and they've got to kind of fill that void. So I understand that piece as well. So we have a lot of family members who take classes at the center as well as on the Clarksville campus, and they're a whole different group that we need to make sure that we focus on and support them, especially during deployments. So my experience, both academic and military, I think that's one of the reasons I was selected as a final candidate for the position and ultimately selected for this position, is because I bring different perspectives.
I think it's because you got a great smile. Anyway, Dr. Christine Nakutis is our guest, along with Bill Persinger, but, you know, he doesn't count. We need to take a break. Time now for a Sports Now update with Justin Swallows, brought to you by Mr. Appliance on the Big 1400.
This Sports Now update is presented by Mr. Appliance. Get it fixed fast with a quick call to Mr. Appliance at 931-503-7070.
Coming off of their bye week and into a Sunday afternoon showdown against the Baltimore Ravens, the Tennessee Titans are focused largely on finding a way to score touchdowns in the red zone. Statistically, despite their 4-3 overall record, the Titans have been awful from within 20 yards of the goal line, providing too many opportunities for their star place kicker, Ryan Suckup. Suckup attempted only 22 field goals throughout all of last season. Through only 7 games in 2017, he has already made 22 field goals on a total of 24 attempts. Next, we take you over to Austin Peay State University, where they are celebrating today on the heels of their first team win in women's golf since 2015. The Austin Peay ladies golf squad scored a new program low yesterday to win Nashville's Town and Country Invitational by 22 shots with a collective 36-hole team score of 583. It was the senior Anna Michelle Moore leading the way in the triumph. She was the only golfer to finish the tournament under par with a 36-hole score of 140. Lastly, today we take you to Knoxville for a disturbing report concerning the University of Tennessee football program. The ReadOptional.com is claiming this morning that Tennessee's coaching staff knowingly played right tackle Brett Kendrick for at least 2 quarters of last weekend's loss at Kentucky with a concussion. A look back at the film reveals that Kendrick was visibly wobbling throughout the second and third quarters, missing assignments and at times seemingly unaware of when the ball was snapped. The senior offensive lineman was not available to the media Saturday night in Lexington, and he hasn't made a public appearance yet this week. From the WJZM Sports Desk, this is Sports Now, and I'm Justin Swallows.
Don't despair over that busted stove, broken dishwasher, or out-of-order dryer. Just pick up the phone and call Mr. Appliance. He offers flat rate pricing, meaning there aren't any hidden fees, and he promises an always quick response with same or next day appointments. Mr. Appliance also gives you a complimentary 1-year parts and labor warranty on every household repair. You can book an appointment anytime by calling 931-503-7070 or by going online to MrAppliance.com/Clarksville.
The Big 1400, WJZM Radio. It is Governor Wednesday, Austin Peay Day here on the Big 1400, and we're talking with Bill Persinger, who's Director of Marketing at Austin Peay State University. He's kind enough to always bring us a guest. Our guest today is Dr. Christine Nakutis, Executive Director of the Austin Peay State University Center on Post at Fort Campbell. I was asking Dr. Nakutis off mic if she missed the military, and she said with a resounding yes. You know, so I think Dr. Nakutis, after 20 years, it's only natural that there's a part of you that's BDU. You know, there's a part of you that I understand that.
I think a part of me will always be a soldier because it was a huge part of my life for so long. When I retired, you almost had to change your identity. Being a lieutenant colonel and being ma'am and being the boss and being in charge and making decisions, I thrived on that. And once
liked it.
I loved it. I love working with soldiers. I love working with the civilians that worked for me, the contractors who worked for me. And I just love making changes and making things better for soldiers, for civilians, for everybody. So I think being here now at Austin Peay in the position I'm in, I have that ability again based upon my position, albeit I don't wear a uniform anymore.
Yes, you do. Red and white.
Red and white. There you go.
You're red and white.
I got my red and white on today.
And I have to ask you, I know that you were in logistics and you worked with ordnance, and did you see the movie The Hurt Locker? Were you a special consultant for that?
No, I typically avoid military movies for personal reasons.
Okay. But they had to Hollywood them up.
They
you know,
do.
you always. I mean, you being in the military, and you would have seen, you know, the EOD and you know what they did and everything. And you would, because I've talked to people who work with EOD, and they talk about. Now there were a lot of flaws, and I say they have to Hollywood it up, you know, to make it, you know, attractive to us plebeians in the civilian life.
And that with Hollywood, sometimes that's the dangerous aspect of those movies because they make it not real life. And sometimes that's what our young folks see, and they, I want to do that in the military. I want to,
And then the reality is,
it's not like that.
Not like that. Yeah. What do you like about your job?
My job now is, what I like the most about it is the working with students, reaching out to students. I had my first adjunct class last night for Austin P. I'm teaching Introduction to Ethics this semester. And just being in contact with students and making a difference, seeing their appreciation of what we're doing to try to help them to become better citizens of our nation here in our community. Working with my peers at Austin P. I work for the provost and work with the deans and trying to institute change and seeing it from the military student perspective, because sometimes we forget we have active duty military, we have veterans, we have the dependents, the spouses and the children of military individuals, and they all have different needs based upon how they're paying for school, how they attend school. So I bring that perspective to meetings and to discussions to say, hey, don't forget, if we make this change, this group may be impacted by that. So making sure, again, across the institution, we're taking into consideration the decisions we make and the consequences and impacts to our students.
The family aspect of what at the center at Fort Campbell, there are a lot of families. We talked about the single head of house. I mean, where the lady, the female is in the military and her husband is the stay-at-home dad. But you do have families that attend school, and how does that work? Is there a difference that you have to be aware of their needs? They've got to pick up kids after daycare and stuff like that?
What we try to do is to make sure, as far as our course scheduling at the center, to make sure we meet the needs of the different groups. Some students want to come during the day because their kids are in school. Then we have those that are in the afternoon, we have evening classes, and we have online classes. So to make sure, especially for the general education, the core required classes, that we have those offered at those different time periods so it meets the needs of who our student body is. If you're a dependent spouse or a child taking classes at the Austin P Center and you're at Fort Campbell because you are a sponsored dependent at Fort Campbell, we actually give you a reduced rate for some of the classes. Your first 2-year classes, the 1,000, 2,000 level. If you're active duty dependent stationed at Fort Campbell, we give you a discount to try to help you build your career to help your family overall. So we take that into consideration.
Do you look at the programming at the center? Basically, you said it's the same as the downtown campus. Are there any differences or any tweaks that go with that?
There are some differences because we don't have the offerings of a lot of the upper level courses. Your 3,000.
They have to take those at the Clarksville campus?
Either on the Clarksville campus, or we do offer a lot that are online. Because that's how a lot of our academics are going. You see that across the national curriculum.
Isn't that amazing that there's so much going on online? I know some friends of mine who went to seminary, and I think they had to go to campus maybe twice a year. They had to go to this campus, and the campus is in Philadelphia, but they took everything else was online.
It's with modern day technology.
That darn computer.
Yep, we take it in our hands everywhere we go. If you have a smartphone, you have a computer in your hand. And I've actually had students who have done their homework on their phones, when they're traveling. But technology has given us that flexibility as institution and as students to take our education with us. And that's what we try to instill in our Fort Campbell students is they can finish pretty much an associate's degree at Fort Campbell because they're there for 2, 3, maybe 4 years. And if they PCS, they can take their education with them. And so they can start and finish their degree with Austin P and just finish it online if they happen to go to, South Korea or Fort Hood or any place else.
Having that flexibility is unique to a school like Austin P, and they're having a campus on post at Fort Campbell. I'm sure that when you were in the military, that wasn't happening.
We were never really encouraged. I don't remember any time. I was, platoon leader, company commander. I don't ever really remember back in those days, saying, hey, you ought to go to college. You work on your degree. Today, that's changed. The military understands that education is important to soldiers, not only to make them, it helps them with promotion, but it helps them become better soldiers, to get those skills. And especially if they're active duty, Guard, or National Guard, or Reserve, they have funding that they can use through federal tuition assistance. And you can only use that while you're actively serving. Save your GI Bill benefits for after you leave the service, or you can transfer those benefits to your dependents. But to not use that funding, you're actually, throwing money away while you're, serving your country.
You were in the military for 20 years, and you rose up through the ranks. What is the biggest difference that you see in today's soldier student than, say, when you first went in, when you were a young lieutenant? What is the biggest difference? I mean, not just in the officer corps, but in the enlisted. What do you see?
I came in through ROTC. I almost dropped out of college because I had financial problems. I was denied aid, federal aid for 1 year. Luckily, I had a friend that helped me stay in school, and then I realized I needed to do something else. So I joined ROTC and received a 2-year scholarship. So I graduated on Saturday, and by Wednesday, I was a full-time active duty second lieutenant. I think where I see from, I hate to say it, that was back in the 80s, but seeing from back in that time frame to today, we need our soldiers to be more educated. They need the skill set. We didn't have the computer systems that we do now. We didn't have that technology back in the day. I can remember in my company orderly room as a second lieutenant, there was one computer in one little office that everybody used.
It was a big one.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Compared to today, yeah.
And so that technology requires a different skill set. You've got to be able to know how to use it. And so the military had to change with that, and with that, education had to change with that. So like I said, back in the day, we weren't looking at sending our soldiers to, to school, go to college, earn some credits. Whereas today we're looking at that. Fort Campbell has a wonderful program where they're helping students transition from military to civilian life, and a big part of that is education. So we want to make sure we focus while they're at Fort Campbell, give them the opportunity to earn those credits, get that skill set, so when they do PCS or do leave the service, they've got to have a great foundation to make a wonderful transition to the civilian. You can't stay in the Army and the military forever.
You can't?
You cannot. I would have loved to.
You're living proof.
I'm living proof.
You're walking proof, yeah. Dr. Christine Nakutis is our guest. She's the executive director of the Austin Peay State University Center at Fort Campbell. In the 80s, you came into the military, so that was after the period. I was trying to think of when you didn't change every 18 months. Where people would be stationed. When my father he was in the military for 30 years, and when he was in the military, I remember, we'd leave and go to Fort Campbell, leave and go to Germany, leave, go, and go to Fort Jackson, But it was always like, we never stayed in a place, longer than 2 years And I remember somebody asked me once in college, they said, well, did you like that life? And I said, yeah, it was different. I said, you learn to adjust and adapt. And they said, well, what was one of the negative things that you didn't like about it? I said, one of the negative things I didn't like was that I don't know where anybody I went to kindergarten with was. You go to somebody in Clarksville and they went to kindergarten. We've been going to school together since kindergarten, and I don't have that luxury because I went and I was gone 2 years. But, you came in at a time when they were staying longer on post, and now they're staying even longer. Some people spend 8 or 9 years at Fort Campbell. So does that change the way you put your curriculum together, the way you see the military and the students that come to the campus on post at Fort Campbell?
We take that into consideration. How long are these soldiers here? We're looking at the young enlisteds, your E3s to E5s. We're looking at your mid-range, your senior NCOs. We're looking at your junior officers. everybody has different needs based upon their rank and how long they've been in. So we're one of the few four-year institutions within the state of Tennessee that has associate degrees that you can complete 2.5 years, depending upon how many classes you take during the year, so that they can at least complete that degree while they're stationed maybe for 2 or 3 years. And depending upon your job, your rank, determines sometimes how long you stay in one station. Sometimes it's 2 years, depending upon your rank. Sometimes it's longer. But if you have a specific job and you're needed at that location, yeah, you will stay for 6, 7, 8 years. In some positions, it's an anomaly. My last duty station, I was there for 5 years. That should have never happened, but because of the situation, I stayed in one place for 5 years.
That is an anomaly.
That's an anomaly.
Yeah.
My roots grew way too deep in West Tennessee. My kids were getting ready to go into high school. I retired because of my children. I wanted to make sure that they were set up for success for education, because I'm all about education. So I retired because I didn't want to, one, leave them behind because I'm the mom, and two, I didn't want to, kind of move them around too many times during those formative years during their high school in preparation for college, because education is so important to me. I wanted to make sure they were set up for success. So I retired, let my husband be the breadwinner for the first time in our, marriage, but it worked out in the end. Both my kids are seniors in college. So I'll get a pay raise in May once they're both done.
Oh, you think?
I'm hoping.
You think? Let me tell you, that old wives' tale about 18 and they're out, that's an urban myth. Yeah. That's not happening. That's not happening. Dr. Christine Nakutis, who is the executive director of the Austin Peay State University Center at Fort Campbell. Dr. Nakutis, the students, though, the old military, when you were PCS, which is permanent change of station, you'd be gone. But now they rotate. Like you said, they rotate to the Middle East, and then they come back after, a year or, after 9 months, and they just pick up where they left off. They're in the same building, same house. They leave their family behind. That wasn't always the way it was.
Not always. I did 2 tours in Korea. They were extended tours, so the first time my husband and I, when he was still active, we went over there together, but we extended. And then the second time I went after he left the service, we went with children. So we were there for 2 years. But not everybody has that opportunity to bring their family overseas. But stabilization that the military focuses on is they see that as a need to support the families. If you have a high school student who is going into their senior year and you're supposed to PCS, permanently change station, and move somewhere else, you can request to stay there for that extra year to help your child out.
To finish out the stability.
Finish out that senior year so they can graduate. Because moving around does, can sometimes harm the children. When we moved to our last duty station in Milan, Tennessee, my children had a hard time assimilating because, like you said, there are students that were there from birth to high school.
Yeah. And they know who they went to kindergarten with.
Exactly. And my kids have moved all over the place. Right. But when my son was a freshman at University of Dallas, he actually ran into a friend of his that he went to kindergarten with at West Point. They both ended up in the same college together.
Isn't that amazing?
And so it is a small world. So you just never know. Just never know.
Dr. Christine Nakutis is our guest. The idea that the center at Fort Campbell is continuing to grow. What's on the horizon?
We are working to improve our administrative processes out there. We want to set up a one-stop shop. So if you want to come to Austin Peay, you can come to one location and do everything you need as far as applying to school, receive advising.
So like a mini replica of what's going on downtown? Correct.
Yes. And that's what I'm focusing on because that's my responsibility. Mm-hmm. How can we support the student and improve customer service? And that would flow into student success. Yeah. If we can ease the process and make it a little bit more smooth for them, if I have to make it harder on myself, that's what I'm going to do to make it easier on the student. So we're going to consolidate some of our offices, some of my personnel that work out there, and streamline the process so that they can have a one-stop shop similar to their in and out processing at Fort Campbell. We want to replicate that at the Fort Campbell Center.
Very good. Thank you for coming in. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Nice meeting you.
Nice
you have to
meeting
come
you
back. Continued success on Post at Fort Campbell. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Anything else we need to touch on?
Just wanted to mention real quick, we've got, of course, we're playing Tennessee Tech away this weekend.
And basketball.
And basketball's coming up November 4th. I believe that's Friday.
Okay.
We have an exhibition game up for men's basketball against Sewanee. And then the women's team plays on Tuesday, November 7th against Kentucky Westland as an exhibition game. So we're in the transitioning from football to basketball, and the excitement continues.
Yeah, it's an overlap. And if you go to the basketball game, you better come angry.
That's right.
What did Coach Figure say? Come mad.
Come mad.
Come mad. He wants to fill up the stadium. But anyway, thanks, Bill. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nakutis. Continued success. Come back and see us, okay?
I will.
All right. Austin P. Day here on the Big 1400, and we appreciate Bill and Dr. Nakutis for being here with us. We need to take a break. We'll be back right after this.
Ever lost or misplaced your debit card? Now, before that happens, download the Card Valet mobile app. With it, you can turn your F&M debit card on and off, establish when, where, and how it is used, and much more. And best of all, it's free. From F&M Bank, member FDIC.
With the Christ Center curriculum and a high expectation for academic mastery, Power and Grace Preparatory Academy has set the gold standard for elementary learning. Certified by the Tennessee Department of Education, they've extended their offerings to include music, art, and Spanish. Additionally, students will be participating in STEAM Fridays, emphasizing science, technology, engineering, art, and math. Before and after care is available, spanning from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., and enrollment is open for children in pre-K through the 3rd grade. For more info, visit powerandgraceacademy.com or call 931-320-9862.
Do you hear that? That's the sound of your house leaking energy. And every month it's costing you more and more money on your utility bill. But with the Energy Right Do-It-Yourself Home Energy Audit from TVA and Cumberland Electric, you can find those silent leaks. And when you do, we'll send you a free conservation kit so you can fix the leaks and save. So visit EnergyRight.com and take your online energy audit today, or call toll-free 1-800-987-CEMC to request a paper copy.
For real estate services, Byers & Harvey can do it all. Real estate sales, rentals, property management, commercial and residential development. Byers & Harvey is Clarksville's oldest independent real estate company and has given continuous service since 1878. Byers & Harvey have 3 locations to serve you: in North Clarksville, in the heart of downtown, and at Sango. For more information and listings, visit them online at byersandharvey.com. byersandharvey.com. Byers & Harvey, Clarksville's real estate company.
The Big 1400 is WJZM, Clarksville, Fort Campbell, Hopkinsville.
Here's a special program note for viewers of WCKV-TV. As you may have heard, WCKV-TV, Clarksville's only broadcast TV station, has moved to Charter Channel 6. They're also looking into opportunities to do more local programming to serve you better, so please stay tuned to WCKV Charter Channel 6 for some changes. WCKV-TV will continue airing on CDE Lightband Channel 12 and over-the-air Channel 21.1. Channel 21 is a free service. WCKV-TV, engaging, inspiring, and uniting all of Montgomery County and beyond. Unique by design. WCKV-TV, Clarksville.
We've got you covered every step of the way. That's what they do at Clarksville Floor Covering. Carpet, hardwood, tile, laminate, vinyl, and area rugs are what they specialize in. Visit Clarksville Floor Covering and let their on-staff interior designer put it all together to give you the look you want. Locally owned and operated since 1961, Clarksville Floor Covering is conveniently located at 606 North Spring Street, behind Sonic off Riverside Drive. Visit their website at clarksvillefloor-covering.com and be sure to check them out on Facebook.
There's finally a stress-free, no-risk way to buy a new mattress thanks to Beds Express. With their Triple Z guarantee, there's literally no way you can go wrong. Don't waste another night tossing and turning on your old, worn-out bed. Dive into affordable comfort at Beds Express in Clarksville at 1767 Wilma Rudolph Boulevard, Bellevue at 7643 Highway 70 South, and in Murfreesboro at 2222 Medical Center Parkway. Beds Express, Middle Tennessee's better sleep solution.
The Big 1400, WJZM Radio, Clarksville area weather. Expect a high of 65 today with chance of showers, 64 overnight low, and 73 tomorrow. Right now, we're at 46 degrees in downtown Clarksville on the Big 1400 with Chuck and John. Good morning, Clarksville. big 1400, WJZM Radio, 46 degrees on this Governor Wednesday.
Hello, governors.
We were talking earlier about vacations off the air, and we were talking about, here we are, Thanksgiving's coming up, and a lot of people are thinking about where they're going to spend Thanksgiving, the weekend. We're talking about Florida, how the football team got a chance to go to Orlando. Vacations during the winter don't necessarily have to be the places that are warm. Some people, I think they should be, but I guess they don't have to be. But WalletHub.com has just released the results of a study where they found the best warm cities and the best cold cities in the country for your winter vacations. Do you want a warm city or a cold city?
In the winter?
Mm-hmm.
I want a warm city.
Okay.
I want to go to the Bahamas. That's not in there, right?
Oh, no. Both sets of rankings are based on things like the cost of hotels and food and the number of attractions and things to do. Now, then the cold cities also factor in stuff like skiing, ice skating, and spas. And the warm cities factor in things like amusement parks and ice cream shops. Are you ready?
I am ready.
The 5 best. Hey, let me have one of them Snickers. I tell you what, I will give you. Okay,
I told you the deal already. You have to give me.
I will give you 4 Milk Duds.
No.
2 Kit Kats.
No. Snickers.
For one Snicker.
A Snickers, 2 Baby Ruths, and a Reese's cup.
Anyway.
Otherwise, you just eat your candy and I'll eat mine.
The 5 best cold cities for vacations this winter are Chicago, Portland, Oregon, Washington, D.C., Pittsburgh, and New York City. The worst city is Bridgeport, Connecticut. I really wouldn't want to go to any place cold during the winter. But
if I'm going on vacation, I'm going somewhere warm.
That's right. Because you want to put on them Speedos.
That's right.
That's right. The 5 best warm cities are Orlando, Las Vegas, San Diego, Austin, Texas, and Los Angeles. Worst city is Santa Barbara, California.
You know why I like Vegas?
Because everything that goes on in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Hey, you catch on
I know,
easy.
because he go out to Vegas and he changed his name. John Michael? No.
My
Larry.
name is Michael Johns.
I'm Larry. I'm Larry. I knew somebody who went to Vegas and changed their name to Peaches.
Well, I didn't change mine to Peaches.
She changed her name to Peaches. And I said, why are you doing that? I don't want anybody to know what my real name is. But she called herself Peaches.
Peaches.
And I thought,
hello, Peaches.
But you know what goes on in Vegas?
Is she a Georgia peach?
Yeah, I guess. My sister-in-law.
Oh, okay. I think
we went out for a wedding.
Oh.
I had to perform a wedding in Vegas. The Big 1400, WJZM Radio, Burton Cummings, and the Guess Who.
These eyes cry every night for you. These arms long to hold you again. The heaven's on me, yeah. And I will never be free, no, my baby, no, no.
1400 WJZM Radio, 46 degrees in downtown Clarksville. Expect a high of 65 with that rain on and off throughout the day. Tomorrow, 73, warming up very nicely. Still got a chance of showers for tomorrow. Right now, we're at 46 degrees in downtown Clarksville. We're ready for some good news on this Governor Wednesday.
Time of the day.
Yep, just when you thought today's kids are going to be poisoned by all the horrible things going on in the world, they pull together.
You mean it's...
And they do something like this. Huh?
There's still a few good ones?
There's still a few good ones that have not been poisoned, that have not bought into the toxicity in our world today. There's a senior at Atlee High School, which is in Mechanicsville, Virginia. I know where that is. That's right outside of Richmond.
Mechanicsville?
Yes, it is.
Oh, it's
his name is Sepp Shirley.
It's by Brakeland.
Yeah.
Brakeland, Virginia.
I'm not familiar with Brakeland.
You're not?
Anyway, no. But anyway, Sepp has cerebral palsy. He has trouble walking without his crutches, but he loves football, and he's on Atlee's team. They were playing Varina High School from Henrico, Virginia on Friday, and Sepp's coach put him in the game as a running back. And Sepp and his dad had the coach pass along the message that the kids on the other team could tackle him. But when the quarterback handed Sepp the ball, the kids on the other team didn't tackle him. Instead, they joined his teammates in cheering him as he ran incredibly 80 yards down the field without his crutches, and he scored a touchdown.
Touchdown!
You go, Sepp. Varina's coach said, quote, the definition of physical and mental toughness is Sepp Shirley marching 80 yards. It's the toughest 80-yard run I've ever witnessed. I'll tell you that. So good
it's a great
for Sepp,
story.
Scoring a touchdown. Of course, his team lost 63-21, but in the scheme of things, does that matter?
It's still a win.
Does that matter? Does that matter?
No, it doesn't.
The score does not matter.
Mechanicsville.
Yeah, Mechanicsville.
It's over by Brakeland.
Brakeland? No, it's not.
It's Carburetor. It's close to Carburetor. Yeah, Carburetor, West Virginia.
No, it is not,
yes,
John.
It is.
You know, okay, you got one last chance. What do you take for one of them snakes?
Wait a minute.
Okay. We thank you for sharing this part of your Wednesday with us here on Big 1400. John and I always look forward to being with you. Hopefully we'll get together again tomorrow. Till then, be well, my friend. Bye-bye.
When I wake up in the morning, love, and the sunlight hurts my eyes, and something without warning, love, bears heavy on my mind. Then I look at you, and the world's all right with me. Just one look at you, and I know it's gonna be a lovely day. When the day that lies ahead of me seems impossible to face,